to this meeting or this convention, we were asked to show one thing before we actually got this. We all had to do a valid license. We had to be able to verify who we were before we actually were able to get one of these. When we went to Ada County, the reorganization meeting, we had tables basically as you walked in. The room was like this, packed. We walked in, they had tables, they had people there, they had your name and you had a signature. Not at one time did anybody ask for ID. We had, in Ada County, we had a huge flip of PCs, just like in every county around here. Just like here, you had a roll call of who was in this room. We did not have that in Ada County. Basically, we had people walking up saying, I'm such and such. Okay, sign here, here's your badge. No ID, no verifying who they were. That was brought up during the meeting. Then, at many times, the tables were not attended. The ID badges were there, sitting there just for anybody in the room. We had more than the 197 people that are in our precincts in attendance. So, in the meeting, we started the meeting, and there was never a call for, what is it called?
Roll call.
Sorry.
He's lying about that.
There was never called for a quorum, because honestly, we had no clue who was actually in this room, minus who signed it. That's it.
This guy's name
Then,
is Travis Clyde.
we started doing our election of our officers. During the process of this, there was an issue. Every precinct, every district was separated by groups, and a representative from each district went up and grabbed the ballots from our secretary on the floor, and basically they would distribute all the ballots. They were literally blank white sheet papers. And during the process, I witnessed many district leaders or group leaders went back to the secretary and gave back ballots. We are an organization of rules and voter integrity. We are organization of that. If we cannot have meetings of reorganization meetings with integrity and voting integrity, what are we doing? So I asked the chairman, I said, Mr. Chairman, why isn't people bringing ballots in the back to the secretary? He said, oh, there was a mistake. We are remedying that at this moment. I said, okay, you're remedying, that's great. Now we have, then they did the counting of the ballots of the chair at the moment. I witnessed, and many of us witnessed this, that they were scrambling. They didn't know what was going on back here counting in this. And I asked the chair, I said, do we have a verdict of who won this precinct or this chairmanship? Mr. Clyde, we have a concern. We have an issue. There's 4 extra ballots on the floor than the people that signed it.
Point of order. Mr. Becker, the gentleman is discussing the election of the chairman, not the election of the delegates.
He's got 5 minutes to discuss whatever he wants.
Very good, thank you. That's the last 30 seconds right there. Okay, very cool. So then we have this issue. Then I basically said, okay, we have 4 extra ballots. What is the concern?
He's lying. He's about
Well,
to
we
get
can give it to
coffee.
this person, we give this person, whatever. At the time, I motioned that we do a roll call to verify who's actually physically in this room. Leading up to this, you guys, if you guys are in your precinct committee members, you know that from the organization of the meeting to the delegates
We were
is the
there.
same
He's
people.
lying.
Same credentials, everything. So how does this affect our delegates? The same people that supposedly signed in as John Smith, it still has John Smith's badge. I don't know half the people in that room. You probably don't know half the people in your room. We have 197 precincts in our district, in our county. At the end of the meeting, we all went into a district and we voted for the delegates for this meeting. Again, we do not have ID. We did not verify who was in this room. And then on top of that, there was a change of rules of how we pick delegates, of the credentialing of the delegates. If you worked in the previous years, we've always had a rating of what we did. We had 3 things that we walked off of. The second, for this year, during committee, what?
5 seconds.
5 seconds. You got change points, all that fun stuff, so you'll hear it here in a few minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there somebody who wants to speak in opposition to the motion? Is that Thad?
Yep.
Okay, step forward, Thad.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members.
Just one second. I think that Washington County's next, so we can have them lined up so we don't lose any time. That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to present our defense here. Let's just start out with clarifying a couple things. Yes, each PC was required to sign in. There are no bylaws requiring photo ID, either at the state level or at the county level. So that's number one. They were signed in, they were given their name badge, and they were told where to go to sit, and they were arranged by LDs, or by legislative districts to make it easier for people that had to count. Immediately after the Pledge of Allegiance, quorum was asked for and was announced, and in fact, the very number given is what led to the question of whether there were 4 overvotes or not. All right? The announcement was made that there were 175 signed in. That was at the moment of quorum being taken. The complaint that was sent in also references meeting notes, and so far those are still draft meeting notes and have not been sent out to anybody, so I'm very curious to know how those were referenced in this complaint.
Mr. Klein.
So with the issue of the overvotes, what did happen was 4 people signed in after quorum was determined and announced. So that's what led to the difference. As a precautionary measure for the first 2 races, the 4 extra votes were actually, or they were not extra, but they were undetermined as of yet. Those 4 extra votes were removed from the winner, and there was still a sizable margin on each of those votes. So it would not have made a difference. But as soon as it was determined by the sign-on team and the secretary that the 4 extra votes were because of people who had signed in after quorum had been announced and established, then that was the issue taken care of. On the issue of the rules change, there are exhibits in the official complaint that reference the state rules. And the complaint was that we made those changes within a 60-day window. However, for county delegations, there is a 30-day window, and ours was at 6 weeks, so we were well within our window to have that quiet period. It was a delegate scorecard process that we used, and it was put together by a committee, and it was applied equally to everyone that applied for the delegation, hence the varied amount of people that came in from Ada County. So the process was followed. Was there a little bit of chaos? Yeah, there was quite a bit. In fact, we had at several times to ask people who were in the gallery and not part of the voting process to be quiet and to make sure that they were sitting in the right places. That's part of a large organization when you have 197 people to deal with. So that's the process. That's the answer to the rebuttals. I'm happy to stand for questions whenever.
Looks like there's a question back here.
Dan Silver, Layton County. In regards to the 30-day rule you referenced,
Yes.
is that in your county bylaws,
It's in the state rules.
in the state rules?
Mm-hmm.
I guess
It-
I'm not finding it in the state rules.
If you look at exhibit, let me pull it up here for you real quick. If you will look at, and let me scroll down there. Exhibit D, you'll see that the, for legislative districts, you cannot change the rules to the state convention or for delegate selection to the state convention within 60 days of the May primary. In right up above that, in section 1, it states 30 days.
Mr. Fisher was up first.
Was there a recount call during the meeting?
No.
Mr. Bender? Mr. Chairman, Robert's Rules of Order 23A, remedy for inclusion of improper votes, says that if there is any possibility the votes would have affected the outcome, the results must be declared affected, or must be declared invalid. Point of order was saying that the issue was there were 22 vote difference. After they removed the 4, there was no difference. And again, this was about the chairman's race. The county has its own set of rules. Those rules were last debated in April, 64 days, I believe, outside the window. And at that point, we said we would use the same scorecard that was used in 2022, and that's what the delegate selection committee did. They listed their 105 delegates, they ranked their 105 alternates, and brought that list where I don't recall that there was a single voice vote against it. It was adopted unanimously by the committee. I don't believe this challenge has any merit whatsoever, and I urge members of the committee to simply vote against the challenge.
Okay, any questions? Any questions directed to that? Any questions? Mr. Time's up. Sorry, Mr. Athy. Please stand.
My question actually would be, there's a question about the 30 to 60 day. I wonder if a parliamentarian.
Well, then you just ask him a question.
Yeah, why I say that in parliamentary?
That's out of order. Okay. Any other questions with that? Okay, you may be seated, thank you. All right, so I've got the complaint that was given to me this morning at 9:20. And here's the remedy that they're asking for from on this issue. That the delegates from Ada County are not eligible to be seated at the state convention. Would anyone like to move that the delegates from Ada County are not eligible to be seated at the state convention?
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion on that.
What's that?
Mr. Chairman, I'm.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, it depends on your motion, because we don't have one pending currently.
Mr. Chairman, I move that all of those 7 submissions that were submitted at 9:20 be thrown out as untimely. I recognize that you moved it as timely, but as a committee, I believe we can vote that it is untimely.
I second that motion.
Oh, okay, hold on just a second here, hold on.
Oh, we should really turn. What?
What took them so long?
I think what was happening, and this is just a guess, is that they were having a little bit of disagreement in the background about that part in Robert's rules that has to do with overriding a chair.
Yeah.
And I stayed out of that because I've got that very number wrong before. It's an infamous thing that happened in Ada County in 2020. So I don't blame them for triple checking. That's my guess, and I'm probably right.
That answers what's taking
Okay,
so long.
so here's what's happened, okay? I made the determination that the 920 submission was timely. But you're raising a point of order challenging. Okay. Are you raising a point of order to consider my ruling on whether those were timely? No? Hold on a second. This is tricky. Hold on.
I had input opined as a parliamentarian at the time that it only required a majority plus one. It in fact requires 2/3. And I learned the hard way. And not only that, this was at a meeting about nominating
Are
people
you
to replace
raising a point of order
a
that
county
the
commissioner.
complaint, all seven of
When it
them,
mattered,
that
I
received
left
from
up.
them are untimely? And as a result, they should not be considered by this body.
Mr. Chairman, I'm making the motion of that.
Yes or no?
So the motion would be, so you're making a motion that the complaints were, hold on 1 second, hold on, please stop, go ahead. Hold on, go ahead.
Cue up the
Chris?
circus music.
And then they had to find
Say it
somebody
again,
who
so-
would stand up and actually take the shot.
Okay, point of order. There we go. Yes. Priscilla Giddings, you've raised a point of order.
Submission at 9:20, is untimely.
You're asking me if it's untimely? Okay, that's great. Now I need a motion. No?
There, magic words.
Okay, that's great. You think it's untimely. Now, are you seeking a remedy? Yeah. Would you want to please talk to the parliamentarian?
Recess
No,
for
you-
5
hold
minutes?
on. Let's just do one thing at a time.
What section is it?
Oh, I would have to look it up. It's usually I cheat and look at the back at the index of Robert's rules.
Point of order. Yes. Okay, hold on just 1 second. I think I know how to do this, but I want to make sure we get it right. Okay, so would you please restate that?
Chairman, I think we should stop considering 9:20 submissions because it's untimely.
That's. Mhm. Priscilla Giddings, I am ruling that your point of order is overruled. However, I am going to submit this question to the will of the body. And if they agree with you, then I can overrule. Hold on a second. Is there anybody wishing?
It's Robert's rules, but even slower.
Okay, the question before us is, more time.
Use your words.
The question before us is, should the chair's ruling that the submissions were untimely be upheld? Were timely be upheld? Is there any debate on that? Okay, Valerie James.
Mr. Chairman, is it really appropriate for me to just appeal the ruling that the chair just made?
He hasn't made his ruling.
We're doing it in the negative is the problem. Yeah, I'm going to recognize the parliamentarian for just a second because we want to make sure that we're no.
Better recognize.
Just so we understand, he is simply, just so we understand, he has already submitted an appeal. He's appealing his own ruling. So the question before y'all is to whether or not you agree with the chair that these submissions are timely and they should be considered, or do you agree with, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Priscilla Giddings.
Ms. Giddings, that they are in fact untimely, that the convention commenced at 9 a.m. and the consideration is improper. That is the question, and then you now have to vote on whether or not it should be reviewed.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman, I will speak against this motion or whatever it is, whatever you're calling it. I want to do the people in favor first, that's how the music works.
Okay, we got her. Did she make a motion?
No, point of order.
She just made a point of order. Yeah, I made the motion. All right, that's my motion. So at this point, the chair is totally confused. Yeah. We were doing pretty good until this part. Okay. I get it.
Point of order, question and answer.
Yes?
Number one, was it germane to the conversation we're having? And number two, the opportunity to appeal the chair's decision should have happened before we started the process of debate on.
Except I didn't make a ruling, and he just asked me why. He says there's some rule for that, and I explained it to him, but there was I didn't make a ruling from the bottom.
You ruled that it was timely.
No, I didn't, I just said it was timely, but there wasn't even a motion, I think, made for the bottom. Yeah, I just believe that I didn't rule that at all. I just commented that it was submitted and I determined that it was timely, but I didn't make a ruling on it because there wasn't even an issue before the body. Mr. Hart.
I don't believe you asked for an objection, so then that would be denied.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have points of order that need to be, or do you want to move on? Yes, sir. Okay, let me do that again. Okay, so. Okay, so I'm going to explain why. So what we have is Priscilla Giddings just made a point of order, and she thinks that the submissions at 9:20 this morning were untimely, and if they're untimely, they could be considered. I believe that they were timely, and the reason I believe that is that Article 3 in our rules, preparations for state convention, Article 3, Section 3, state that any person aggrieved by the manner of conduct in the proceedings in any legislative district or county meeting, or of any legislative district chairman or county chairman, or of the state chairman, prior to the convening of the state convention shall specify the reasons therefore in writing. So the question becomes, what does it mean do they have to specify those in writing before convening of the state convention? There's two ways to look at that. Convening of the state convention could be when the registration opened this morning. That's when they first started conducting business at this convention. That's when it was convened. Another way to look at that is to say, well, it's not until, I suppose, the delegates are seated and the convention, and that portion of the convention starts. Now, I looked at that and thought, out of an abundance of caution, people want to be heard, they're going to be heard. And I decided that convening the state convention means the latter and not the former. Some people might disagree with me, but that's what I did. That was my ruling. Okay, right here, sir. I received 26 pages of emails on my phone at 9:20 in the morning. Yeah, one email. Well, they were submitted by, I believe, 8 individuals, all simultaneously and together. They all came in one big. Okay, I think you, Andy, do you have a question? They were sent to me. I got them 9:20. I mean, that's when I got them. They were sent directly to me. I don't even know if the state party received them. I got them, and I'm going to take it when I get them. I get them. So, where are we at now? Are we still taking questions? Mr. Ricks.
Mr. Chairman, I don't always agree with you, but I do agree with your ruling on this.
Well, I may faint. Yeah, we're in debate, so let's stay focused to the issue.
What are you talking about?
Is that Article 3, Section 3?
About credentials committee, right?
Submitting objection prior to the
Turn the
start.
page.
Okay.
One moment. Here.
I think we got a limit of 3 minutes on debate today, don't we? Have we hit 3 minutes yet? Hold on. Okay, so I shouldn't be taking questions on this, all right. After I was supposed to state my opinion, okay. All right. So hold on just 1 second. So. Okay, so somebody who wants to speak in favor of, to sustain the point of order. To agree with Priscilla Giddings. Okay, hold on. To agree with Priscilla Giddings, we're going to go right here first.
Thank you, Chair. Nick from Western County. Listening to your explanation of convening, that would mean we could accept challenges up until 2 o'clock tomorrow after this body is already.
I get that.
That point doesn't make any sense. So I think the question here is 9 o'clock registration or 10 o'clock an executive. That's really where we're talking. We look at the rules and how they actually play out. I think we go 9 o'clock.
Wait.
Okay.
This middle part is the delegate selection rules, right?
If somebody wants to speak, they should be speaking in favor or against. So, okay. Anybody else want to
Said
speak?
the wrong body of law.
And is it an opposition? Does anybody else wish to speak in favor of sustaining point of order? Mr. Bender.
Clarify, points of order of an appeal are supposed to be worded so that supporting the chair is the affirmative vote. So technically, I think I'm speaking against, but I'm supporting Priscilla's motion. I call everybody's attention to their program for the convention. The page for today states agenda. The agenda is the order of business for the convention begins today, even though we don't convene general session tomorrow. The first item of business on that is 9 a.m. registration in the lobby. So the agenda states that the convention began at 9 a.m. That's why I support the point of order to overturn the ruling that is back.
Okay, is there anyone? Okay, so is there anybody who opposes the sustaining her point of order? Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead, parliamentary inquiry.
Is the point of, debatable?
The point of order isn't being debated, appealing my decision is. The question will be, shall the ruling of the chair be sustained? A vote of yes. A vote of yes. A vote of yes. I'm yes, you're no. Okay, we have called the question. And we're out of time. Saved by the bell. Okay. Now listen. The question before us is, should the ruling of the chair that the submission of the 7 complaints is timely be sustained? Okay, now, make sure we got this right. A vote of yes, sustain. A vote of yes agrees with the chair, which means we'll continue. A vote of no means we won't consider any further of those 7 challenges. Am I right about that?
It's always
All
hard
those
in
in
the Credentials
favor,
Committee.
say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Nay. I don't know, we just voted, but I'm not in doubt, it was nay.
Good. Boy, he might flap his arms hard enough to take flight in here. I'm concerned for these light fixtures.
All right, so the next thing is this? Let me grab my copy.
Well, I'm not going to agree or disagree. I'm just going to say Brian's not an idiot.
Okay, so that simplifies things perfectly. The next issue is we have to determine the eligibility qualifications and priorities of all delegates. We have no further challenges, okay? So let me tell you what this means. I'm looking at my notes. We had submitted to the state okay, there's a possible 529 delegates in the county level. 13 from Bingham County were rendered, I don't know if you want to call them ineligible. They did not pay their dues and they did not get an allotment of delegates. So out of the possible 529, 13 of them did not get an allotment. Clark County had a possibility of 3 delegates, but they only submitted the name of 1. So that's -2. So my math shows that for the delegates, we would have 514, but I believe in today's business, we just disqualified 3 from Jim County. Is that correct? So that means -3, we're at 511. Okay?
Youth chair's not here, sir.
Pardon me?
It's only 2, youth chair's not present. She couldn't make it, so it's only the state committee woman and state committee man, 2, for Jeff. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay, but still, that's the number, that's the possible number. It's 511, okay? It's not possible to have more than 511, all right? Now, who shows up on Saturday, you know, depends how they're driving and all kinds of things.
Please obey all traffic laws.
On the legislative districts, there's 105 delegates possible. And there are 105 submissions. So based on my numbers, that's 616 total delegates that will be, the recommendation from this committee will be that we've determined that 616 are eligible, qualified to be seated. With that having been said, would anyone like to move that 616 delegates as the determination of this committee of the eligibility, qualifications, and priority of delegates? Mr. Benjamin.
Have we confirmed that all 35 legislative districts have submitted 3 delegates?
That's what I determined that.
Okay. My understanding was one of the 35.
Oh, you're right. I skipped one. You're right. Thank you for pointing that out. You are correct. Legislative District 35, they couldn't get a quorum together. And because they couldn't get a quorum together, they didn't meet. So there's not 105, there's 102, which makes the total number 614. I'm sorry, 613. Okay? Yeah, he's right about that. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I was never good at counting. So, if I'm right then, and please double check my math, I think that takes us to 613. Anybody disagree with that? Yeah.
I move that this committee report 613 qualified.
Okay, is there a second? Yes, sir. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we report 613 delegates. Is there an objection to the motion? Yes.
Can you double check that math? 529 plus 102,
Okay, no, it's 529 minus 13 from Bingham,
516.
minus 2 from Clark. That's 514. And then we have 102, which is 6:16. Oh, we forgot the ones from Jim, didn't we? Yeah, you're right. 6:13. Is that right? Now you see why he's the treasurer. He's running to be treasurer in the committee meeting. Okay. All right, as amended. So it's been, so you're now withdrawing your original motion, and you want to now move. Okay, so 613. All right. So it's been moved and seconded that we report 613 total delegates to the state convention. Is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, is adopted. We'll report 613. And also, we're also supposed to report the priority of the alternates to the state convention. And those delegates, the alternates, were all submitted by the counties and legislative districts in order. And so would anybody like to move that we accept the priority of the alternates as they were submitted to the county, Mr. Bender?
Mr. Chairman, having reviewed the master delegate list and put it together, every delegation did submit alternates in order.
The hell is her problem?
For each delegation, and I would move that the master committee, or master delegate roster be reported out as accurate, minus the decisions made by this committee.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Just a question, so for the Jim County people that lost 3, what are the alternates to what those positions?
If there are 3 vacancies now in the Gem County delegation, or in the delegates, then I would believe that that's what would happen, is that those delegates would be as if they didn't show up, and then alternates would move up. Yes, ma'am.
Change the number we just took.
Okay, but that will be, but that won't change the number of 613. There may be people who don't show up on Saturday. I understand that could happen. Okay, but hold on a second. So I'll slow down. Okay. I didn't remove the body yet. Okay. So those 3 delegates have now been, the individuals have been removed, but the positions haven't been removed. So it'd be just as if somebody doesn't show up on Saturday, you can move your alternates up. But right now, there's only 6 delegates for 9 positions. So those 3 should be able to move up.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Bender?
I believe we actually removed their total delegate count from 9 down to 6, because the 3 were automatically put on the list. And if that's the case, then you're now saying that the only 2 alternates they brought could be added back in. If the other 6 are on the floor, there's no slot to add those in, because we took away the 3. And if it's the will of this body that the 2 alternates be able to move up, then we should perhaps reconsider the prior vote and add those 3 gem delegates in terms of the seats that they can fill back in. And the 2 alternates that are on the roster that take 2 of those 3 seats, and they would have an 8-member delegation with 2 alternates.
Okay. So are you making a motion, Mr. Bender?
I'm asking if what you're ruling is that the 2 alternates could only fill the 6 remaining seats. Is that the intent of the body, or did we want to allow those 2 alternates to fill 2 of the 3 seats that we qualified the other 3?
I'm going back and I'm going to read what we actually moved. We divided that question. I must have pulled it out. Okay, here's what we moved. That Steve Holmberg, Terry Holmberg, and Leah Vickery, that their status as delegates be denied. We didn't eliminate the positions of delegates. Oh, okay, that's the math issue. So we need to move to reconsider this.
Given that we're bad at math, when rules get involved, I move that we reconsider the previous vote by which we set the number of delegations so that we can add those three back in.
Okay, is there a second to that? I'll have you second. All right. So it's been moved and seconded that we add those three back into the, nope. It's moved and seconded that we reconsider the vote that we determined that there were 613 delegates. And instead, it is now 616. Just reconsider, okay, just opening it up. All right. Is there an objection to that, to the reconsideration motion? Hearing none, it is adopted that we'll reconsider that motion. Mr. Bender, would you like to make another motion?
I believe the correct number now is 616.
Yes.
I move that the committee report 616 delegates as being seated.
So, is there a second?
Didn't they only have two alternates anyway? Or was that the other guy?
I don't remember, and right
It's
now
been
I'm
moved.
just
Is
focusing
it
on
seconded?
everything because this will probably be challenged later and we'll need a record.
Okay, is there any debate?
See, everything right now is above
Oh,
board,
there's
but they're
some
not
debate
gonna
right
know
here.
that if there's no record.
I would want to debate against this because the gentleman, Mr. Forrest, had talked about how there were 5 alternates that were not allowed to come, that they limited the amount of alternates. That was a huge part of his presentation. So I think that although he may have worded it that way, I think that we all voted with the intent that those 3 positions, those 3 delegates, were not done properly and therefore should not be counted as delegates. And I think 613 is the right number and we should stick with it.
Okay. Is there any other objection on the motion? No, is that right? No, it's both right. Yeah, is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of the motion of reconsideration? Yes, ma'am. The motion to amend. Yeah, is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor of the motion to amend? Okay.
The remedy states that we request that the status of delegates, these are specific people, Steve Holmberg, Tony Holmberg, and Lee Vickery, request their status as delegates to the 2024 state convention be denied. That's 3 people that is not the position.
Okay, is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition to the motion to amend?
Call the question.
Okay, we're gonna call the question. It has been moved and seconded that we report 616 delegates. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we amend the 613 number to be 616 to report. Is there an objection to that motion? Hearing none, it is.
Sorry, I'm looking at the
Oh,
actual.
God.
alternate short. I asked for that this morning, we could not find that.
Okay.
I double checked it, and we only had two, Mr. Bender, but if you're aware of one?
Well, I'm looking through the list, trying to see if I can find another, between the application and the numbers submitted, and Jim County.
Let's just do this, okay?
Jim
Because
County only submitted 8 delegates.
Okay, let's just do this, because this is the last item of business that we have, we gotta make sure this number's right. And
Thank
Mr. Bender was involved in those numbers. Let's just take a short recess for 5 minutes, we'll get this worked out, and then we'll come back.
Before we recess,
Yes.
I found that Jeff County only submitted 8 names, but they do have 2 alternates, so that number 616 would be correct.
Okay, there we go. I don't feel bad either. So we're gonna continue. So it's been moved and seconded that we amend the motion to report 613 delegates, to amend it to be 616 delegates to the convention. Is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, it is adopted.
Woo!
Okay. Now I have to adopt this report. Okay. Now we have to adopt the report as amended. Would anyone like to move that we adopt the report as amended? Okay, Mr. Chafis moves that we adopt the report. Is there a second?